United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has denounced Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a violation of the founding UN Charter and international law, and has also called out Russian threats about possible use of nuclear invaded Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly hinted that Russia could use a nuclear weapon if threatened. Marking 1 year of war, the United States and the EU urged the nations of the 193-member General Assembly to vote on a resolution for peace in Ukraine. Josep Borrell, a EU diplomat, was noted saying that not stopping Russia will increase the risk for any other country elsewhere in the world to face a similar aggression. The General Assembly appeared set to adopt a resolution put forward by Ukraine and its supporters, which stresses the need to reach as soon as possible a comprehensive, just and lasting peace in line with the founding UN Charter. Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska recently addressed a meeting on gross human rights violations due to the aggression against Ukraine at the United Nations. She said that Russia has deprived 6 million Ukrainians of their homes and displaced 8 million more within their own country. She also mentioned that 150 cases of rape were committed by the Russian soldiers, and how 16,000 Ukrainian children were abducted and taken away by Russia. Zelenska highlighted human rights violations in Bucha, Izium, Irpin, Kramatorsk, Kremenchuk, Kiev and various other locations in Ukraine. Former US President Donald Trump visited the center of a train disaster as he is seeking to build support for his candidature to run in 2024 presidential elections. The visit comes as local residents fight for a more strong response from federal agencies. Norfolk Southern, the company which owns the derailed train, was ordered to pay for cleaning up the mess by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Norfolk Southern plans to quantify related costs no later than its first quarter earnings. Former US President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner and daughter Ivanka Trump have now been subpoenaed by special counsel Jack Smith to testify before a federal grand jury regarding the Jan 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol in the United States. Two investigations are currently ongoing involving Trump. The first probe involves Trump's handling of highly sensitive classified documents, and the second investigation is looking at efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential elections results, including a plot to submit phony slates of electors to block Congress from certifying that US President Joe Biden's victory. A gunman opened fire on two television journalists reporting on a murder scene in Florida, United States, killing one and injuring the other. The two journalists shot in Pine Hills were a reporter and a photographer. A 19-year-old suspect identified as Keith Melvin Moses was arrested shortly after the shooting and is also accused of two other shootings that left a 9-year-old girl and a woman in her 20s dead. The local police said that they did not know whether the two newsmen were targeted because they were journalists or why the suspect entered the home of the woman and her 9-year-old daughter. The World Health Organization has said that it was taking advantage of a temporary easing of sanctions against Syria designed to allow humanitarian aid to be more easily distributed in the war-torn country. On February 6th and 7th, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit the region and killed more than 47,000 people in Turkey and Syria, damaging and destroying hundreds of thousands of buildings and leaving millions homeless. The WHO has already managed to send 4 planes to Syria to deliver medicines and vaccines as well, but also X-ray machines and surgical equipment so far. Israeli troops killed 11 Palestinians, including at least 3 gunmen and 3 civilians, and wounded over 100 others during a raid in the occupied West Bank. Palestinians rushed to the house that was besieged by Israeli forces and pulled out bodies of gunmen that were killed. According to reports, the house was left with massive damage. The Israeli military confirmed having conducted the operation, adding that the troops shot back after coming under fire while trying to detain terrorists suspecting of planning imminent attacks. However, there were no Israeli casualties reported. According to Israeli military, the Israeli army conducted strikes in the Gaza Strip on Thursday after rockets were fired from the area. This a day after a raid in the flashpoint city of Nablus sparked clashes. 6 rockets had been fired from the Gaza Strip, 5 of which were intercepted by air defense systems, while 1 fell in an open area. A large-scale coal mine has collapsed in China's Inner Mongolia region. At least 2 people have been killed and 6 injured in the incident, while 53 people still remain missing. The collapse happened at an open-pit mine operated by Xinjiang Coal Mining Company, with a mudslide disrupting rescue operations. According to the state media, the authorities have sent more than 235 fighters, 41 were trucks and 6 rescue dogs to join the rescue operation. More teams of about 200 people are also expected to arrive. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has announced an austerity drive for all ministers. The goal of the drive is to reduce state spending by nearly $766 million each year. Prime Minister Sharif requested his advisors and ministers to fly economy class, forego luxury travel and take salary cuts as a part of the austerity drive. Sharif added that all ministers have been directed to reduce their expenditure by 15%. They have been asked not to use luxury vehicles. This directive comes as Islamabad negotiates with the IMF to secure a $1 billion bailout stalled since 2022 over policy disagreements. Germany has declared 2 employees of the Iranian embassy non grata and ordered them to leave the country in protest over Iran sentencing a German-Iranian national to death, with Chancellor Olaf Scholz condemning the death sentence handed out to Jamshid Sharmahad as unacceptable, calling on Iran to reverse the ruling. And Scholz went on to Twitter and he tweeted, "The Iranian regime fights its own people in every possible way and disregards human rights." Germany also summoned Iran's charge d'affaires over the issue, and some 20 demonstrators were seen waving Iran resistance flags while demonstrating outside Berlin's chancellery. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak told the Parliament that any agreement between Britain and the European Union on Northern Ireland's border needs to ensure sovereignty and safeguard the province's place in the United Kingdom, while also easing trade problems. The exchange came as Britain and the EU edged closer to resolving their dispute over the Northern Ireland Protocol, which sets out the conditions for post-Brexit trade with the British province and also tends to avoid creating a hard border with EU member Ireland and to help protect the bloc's single market. A teenager at a Roman Catholic school in the southwest region of France has stabbed a tutor to death. Soon after the incident, the student fled the classroom and went to a neighboring class, where he told the fellow teacher what had happened and handed over the weapon. The teen claimed to be possessed and was immediately arrested by the police, who were accompanied by a local prosecutor. According to local news reports, the attacker entered the classroom while the tutor was teaching a Spanish class, and the tutor, who is believed to be in her 50s, succumbed to her injuries. A Mexican law enforcement agent has been convicted of taking millions of dollars in bribes from the infamous Sinaloa cartel. The federal prosecutors in New York City said that they had accepted bribes from the cartel, once run by El Chapo, in exchange for protection from arrest, safe passage for cocaine shipments, and tip-offs about forthcoming law enforcement operations. He is one of the highest-ranking Mexican officials ever accused of ties to drug trafficking. He now faces a prison term of at least 20 years and up to the rest of his life when he is sentenced on June 27th. Nigerians are set to vote on Saturday in what could be the most credible and close electoral contest since military rule ended nearly a quarter of a century ago. A first in which a presidential candidate who is not from one of the two main parties stands a chance, amid fears that a close poll may be disputed and trigger even more violence and chaos. All candidates signed a peace pledge promising to seek redress through the courts for any grievances. However, insecurity is prevalent among the masses as possible violence threatens to make voting impossible for many thousands of Nigeria's 93.4 million registered voters. According to the U.S. State Department, the U.S. is extremely concerned by the levels of violence in Israel and the West Bank, as Israeli troops killed 11 Palestinians, including at least 4 gunmen and 3 civilians, and wounded over 100 others during a raid in the West Bank. The State Department spokesperson told a regular press briefing that Washington recognized Israel's security concerns but was deeply concerned by the large number of injuries and loss of civilian life. A major winter storm has battered the northern plains and upper Midwest in the United States. With high winds and heavy snow, more than 50 million Americans are under the winter weather advisories. Hundreds of schools were forced to close and air travel were also halted, with some 3,500 flights being delayed or cancelled across the nation. However, road travels also remains difficult, if not impossible. A wide swath of the western and northern United States were covered with up to 2 feet of snow, and winds of up to 97 kilometers an hour were expected in some spots. Like in California, a red blizzard warning was also issued. According to government reports, the death toll in Madagascar from tropical cyclone Freddy has risen to 4. The storm has displaced around 11,000 people, flooded around 2,000 houses and destroyed another 2,000. The storm could affect more than 3.3 million people in total in Mozambique, Madagascar and Zimbabwe, as World Food Programme assessment suggests that after traversing Madagascar, Freddy could reappear in the Mozambique Channel, strengthening before making landfall and then potentially moving on to Zimbabwe. With less than 3 months to go before the coronation of Britain's King Charles III, a campaign is underway to recruit more people to ring the bells of the nation's churches in celebration. It is called Ring for the King. The campaign is trying to encourage more people to get involved ahead of the coronation on May 6th. According to figures from the Central Council of Church Bell, there are 30 to 40,000 bell ringers across the United Kingdom. However, more are needed as many of the current bell ringers are old. A tattooed cat found wandering inside the Crespo 3 prison in Mexico is now well and up for adoption. When found, the hairless feline showed at least 2 tattoos. The one on its left side reads "Made in Mexico" with a distinctive eagle, which is an image associated with one of the criminal groups operating in the state. Due to the interest shown in the animal, it was decided to launch a public call for its adoption. And anyone interested in having the cat as part of their family must fill out a special adoption form and ensure that the cat will receive the care and attention it requires.